Welcome back to another Star Wars Unlimited Leader Spotlight. In this series, we're going to take a look at some cool leaders from the Star Wars Unlimited trading card game, and we're going to talk about some cool cards that work with them. That being said, there's a couple rules we need to go over before we get started. That being, one of the rules being that not all the cards we talk about in today's video are going to be super meta with this character, and for this character in particular, it's actually going to be hard to find cards that actually look pretty synergistic with that character. But even with all that being said, in an attempt to keep this video as short as possible, we won't be talking about every card that we think works with the character, and we're going to try to keep this video and the options we show to a minimum. That being said, let's take a look at our leader. What does our leader actually look like? Our leader is going to be Jyn Erso, a Cunning and Heroism leader with a Rebel Keyboard trait. As an action, you can exhaust her to attack with a unit. The defender is going to get -1 power, -0 HP for this attack. As an epic action, if you have 6 or more resources, if you control them, you don't have to spend them, deploy this leader as a leader unit. She then becomes a 4/7 with a new ability. While a friendly unit is attacking, the defender gets -1 power, -0 HP. Her ability is extremely straightforward, but not at all that powerful. Your game plan when playing with her is, I guess, playing a very defensive type of game, in which you keep your opponent's aggression to a minimum. So playing her with cool cards that is going to reduce your opponent's power even further, or benefit from your character staying alive for longer periods of time, is going to be generally how you want to go about with this character. But because of the simplicity of her abilities and the not too complex nature of her game plan here, you can play her in a wide variety of different ways, and just using this as a sort of extra ice cream cherry on top sort of deal. So let's take a look at some of the cards you can play with her within your main deck. If you want to play her on her native aspect, or rather, if you want to play her on double Cunning, or rather, you just want to look at some cool Cunning cards you can play with this character, let me introduce you to, of course, Jedha City. Jedha City is going to be a 25 HP base, but it's going to have an epic action to give a non-leader unit -4 power and -0 HP for this phase. It's going to be a great option when playing with this character because it falls right into your main game plan here. Let's take up some units that work well with her. Ezra Bridger is going to be 1/3 cost, 3/4. He's going to have the ability, when this unit completes an attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may play it, discard it, or leave it at the top of your deck. The reason why I think this card works pretty well with Jyn is because his ability only activates when you complete an attack. And so generally that means you're going to be attacking your opponent's base, but now with Jyn's ability and some other abilities within your deck, you can actually use him to attack into other people's units, not fearing whether or not he survives the attack, and then he can activate this ability. Another big option here I like is Chewbacca, 5 cost, 3/6 Sentinel. When this unit is attacked, ready him. So obviously he is going to swing into a unit, you're going to reduce their power, he's going to take minimum damage in return, then your opponent's going to be forced to swing into him, he's going to ready, and he can repeat this process. Chewbacca is one of the most synergistic cards with this leader, I think, when there's not many in the game. Then you can also take a look at Strafing Gunship, 4 cost, 3/4. This unit can attack ground units. And, well, when this unit does attack ground units, the defender gets -2, -0. So it's going to be a similar effect as Jyn there. If you're playing on double Cunning, you can use the Cunning Innate event, 4 cost. Choose to, in any order, return a non-leader unit with 4 or less power to its owner's hand. Give a unit -4 power and -0 HP this phase. Exhaust up to 2 units. An opponent discards a random card from their hand. So all these abilities look pretty decent, but of course your main one you're going to be looking at is giving a unit -4, -0 this phase, right? And then of course there's some other abilities you can of course look to activate there. What else can you play? You can play Disarm, which is obviously a super synergistic event with this character. 1 cost, Disarm. Give an enemy unit -4, -0. And then you can also take a look at Shoot First. 1 cost. It's going to allow you to attack with the unit and gets +1, +0 for this attack, and it deals its combat damage before the defender. And so what that's going to mean is that you can swing in with this dude, you can do damage before them, and then they can probably end up doing minimum damage back to you. But even if it is lethal damage, you'll still survive in the end because you shot, or you'll still get your damage through, and hopefully, kill the opponent before they can kill you. You can look at Asteroid Sanctuary. It's going to be 2 costs, exhaust an enemy unit, give a shield token to a friendly unit that costs 3 or less. Obviously, your sort of game plan here is keeping your dudes alive as long as possible, and making your opponent's units really weak, so they can't really do much offensive plays. So if that's really your play, then this card's going to allow you to do that. And then finally, you have an upgrade. Snapshot Reflex is always a good upgrade. 1 cost, +1/+1. and when you play it, you can attack with the attached unit. So say you want to play Jyn Erso with the Vigilance keyword, rather with this Vigilance aspect. I really do like the security complex here to give your units a little more staying power, but of course you can go for the generic bases instead. The units are actually pretty cool options. You have pretty cool unit options here. Going for Force User package is pretty cool when you're using Vigilance with Jyn. You can use Yoda, 3 cost, 2, 4, restore 2. When defeated, choose any number of players and they each draw a card. You can use Obi-Wan Kenobi, 6 cost, 4, 6. Sentinel, when defeated, you give 2 experience tokens to another unit, and if it's a Force unit, you get to draw a card. You can use Luke Skywalker, 7 cost, 6, 7, restore 3. When played, you can give an enemy unit -3/-3 for this phase, and if it was a friendly unit was defeated this phase, give that enemy unit -6/-6 instead. And then, so Luke obviously is the most synergistic here, but obviously if you play a bunch of Force units, you can get access to a lot of the cool Force abilities later in the game, or there with some other cards within the game. I want to talk about Vigilant Honor Guards real quick. 5 cost, 4, 6. It has Sentinel as long as it's undamaged. This is particularly interesting in Jyn because of her ability to make your opponents a lot weaker, and if you do it well enough, this guy can swing in, take minimum to no damage in return, and then stay undamaged, keep using that Sentinel effect. And then you can also use the Distant Patroller to cost 2/1. When it's defeated, you can give a shield token to another Vigilance unit. Taking a look at some events you can play within the deck. Making opening is really cool. 3 cost, -3. Give a unit -2/-2 this phase, and you get to heal damage from your base. You can also play Electro Staff as an upgrade. 2 cost, +2/+2. Attack attached to a non-vehicle unit, and while attacking while the attached unit is defending, the attacker gets -1 power. So it's sort of the flip ability of what Jyn has, because hers works when your unit is attacking, and then now this one works when you're defending. And then of course you can play the Jedi Lightsaber, 3 cost, +3/+3, and if it's attached to a Force unit, it gains on attack, give the defender -2/-2. So a lot of cool synergistic cards with Jyn here in Vigilance. But let's take a look at whether you want to if you want to play her on the control aspect, the command aspect. So what are some of the options you have there? You can go for any of the bases. I actually like the Echo base here the most, but I think there's a good argument to be made for Energy Conversion Lab. You have to play a unit that costs 6 or less from your hand and give it ambush this phase. And then let's take a look at some of the units you actually play within your deck. Steadfast Battalion, 5 cost, 5/5, Overwhelm, and on attack, if you control the leader unit, you give a friendly unit +2/+2 this phase. And then you can also play the Mercenary Company, 6 cost, 5/5, Ambush, and Overwhelm. You can play the Frontline Shuttle, 2 cost, 1/3. Action, you get to defeat this unit and attack with another unit, even if it's exhausted, and it can't attack bases for this attack. So obviously this has a lot of synergy with Jyn Erso. You swing in there, and then they can't attack a base, but they can attack a character, and that character, whoever they're attacking, is going to do -1 damage to them. So it's pretty good. As some events, you can play the Tactical Advantage, 1 cost, give a unit +1, +2/+2. You can go ahead and play Resupply, 3 costs, put this event into play as a resource. And then, of course, you can play Academy Training, 2 costs, +2/+2, for some decent stats there. And then finally, if you want to play her on Aggression, what are some of the coolest cards that you can play her with? So, first off, let's take a look at the bases. I think going for a generic base is completely fine here, but if you want that extra damage, that's fine too. On Aggression, you can play some cool units, such as Sabine Wren, 2 cost, 2/3. While there are at least 3 different aspects amongst other friendly units, this unit can't be attacked. And when she attacks, you can deal 1 damage to the defender or to a base. So obviously, if you're attacking some other units who are weakened, using Jyn's ability and other abilities throughout the game, then obviously she can deal extra damage to them, and they won't be able to do that much damage to her back, and she may be able to be reused multiple times. I also really like the Jedi Agitator, 2 cost, 2/1, Saboteur, on attack also. If you control a leader unit, deal 2 damage to a ground unit or to a base. You can also play here, the the Green Squadron A Wing, 2 cost, 1/3, raid 2, generically good ability for a generically good card. You can play Open Fire, 3 cost, deal 2 damage to a unit. It's just going to allow you to do some extra damage throughout the game. And then finally, Infiltrator Skill, 1 cost, 1/1, attached unit gains Saboteur. That means when they attack, they can ignore Sentinel and they defeat the defender's shields if they happen to have any. That's gonna be all for the aggression cards, but we have to talk a little bit about heroism cards that work well with the character. Now, I didn't really go too deep into a certain strategy you should play with the character, but if you're playing a lot of rebels, heroism can really help you out here. 4 cost General Dodana is gonna be a 4/4. Other friendly rebel units are gonna get +1/+1. You can also play the Rebel Pathfinder, 2 cost, 2/3. It's going to give Saboteur. It's gonna have Saboteur rather. You can play the Fleet Lieutenant, 3 cost, 3/3. When you play him, you can attack with a unit, and if it's a rebel unit, it gets +2 attack for that attack. And then you can also play the goodness gracious, the Wing Leader, 3 cost, 2/1. When you play this card, you can give an experience token to another friendly unit. Wow, I really just couldn't speak today. But that's really going to wrap up all the different cards you want to put inside of your main deck. A lot of different good options here, but generically, like I said, a lot of these cards don't seem to be too thematic with Jyn, because her game plan is going to be a lot different from most other decks. She doesn't really have many cards that just work with her throughout all the different aspects. There's, of course, some really good ones here and there, but it's up to you to decide what type of way you want to take this deck, which is a plus for a lot of people maybe, because it gives you a lot of freedom when building the deck. You don't feel really, well, I gotta play a certain way. Just generally, a lot of your units are just going to be surviving just a little bit longer with this character than they would in any other deck. And so you can really use that to your advantage throughout the game and through various ways. These are just a couple examples of the ways you may want to play this character, but please tell me your favorite aspects and your favorite cards to play with Jyn Erso in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, go watch some of our other Star Wars Unlimited Leader Spotlights. We have a couple on the channel at this point. And stay excited for any ones that may drop in the future, because the game is releasing in a week. Hope to see you guys there. Well, that's going to be all for now, but if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead and watch some of our other videos that we've made on this channel. Also, give this video a like if you thoroughly enjoyed it. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future content. And I hope to see you guys back at the Roost.